Welcome to Excel course by Besant Technologies. In this video, you learn everything from basics to advanced features, including formulas, functions, charts, pivot tables, data analysis, dashboards. Whether you are a student, job seeker, working professionals, or business owner, this course will help you to improve your productivity and make smarter divine decisions. What is an Excel? Microsoft Excel is a powerful spreadsheet software that helps you to organize data, perform calculations, data informations, and create professional reports and dashboards. It is widely used by educational institutions, business, and organizations across the world for data management and decision making. Start your Excel journey with Besant Technologies. Let's get started.
Hi all, very good morning. Welcome to the next module, module 5, which is on lookup and reference functions in Excel. So let's just get started. The functions that we are going to look over here onto today's module is VLOOKUP, as in vertical lookup, HLOOKUP or horizontal lookup, XLOOKUP, which is an upgrade of our VLOOKUP. Then an alternative for our VLOOKUP is your index and match. We have got offset, indirect, and choose. So let's just get before we get on to the knowing about each of these functions, we will see our databases, as in the data set that we are going to be using to be working with these, to know about these functions. Okay, here we have got an employee database with ID, name, as in first name, last name, the department that they're working in, then you've got your role, the employee's role in the company, then the salary that he is drawing and the hire date, and of course the performance score. So around 8 details per employee is given, and we have got almost up to, almost 50 rows are there, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, along with header, it's 51. So 50 rows are there. And that is one. And another one that we could see here is your quarterly sales. It's given in the horizontal layout. This horizontal layout is specifically for implementing your or to use your HLOOKUP, as in horizontal lookup. What is it we are given is quarterly sales for regions, almost 50 regions. Across 50 regions, the quarterly sales is being given, that too in the horizontal fashion, as in the horizontal layout. Okay, so let's just get on to each of the Excel functions, Excel lookup functions. So let's get it over here. Okay, now let's find out the questions are here as per for each of the functions that we are going to look over here. I have kept a question to be resolving. Okay, the first question here says find the salary of the employee EMP 1005. So let's just get here. We are to, this is your employee 1005. I'll just make it a bit bigger. And the salary of the person, of the employee the name of the person is obviously Robert Jones. He works in sales department as a sales executive, and he draws a salary of 1,10,300. Okay, so this salary is what we are to fetch from this sheet called employee data set. And let's just going to see how we can use it. Okay, our employee number over here is your EMP 1005. 1005. Okay, so let's just start off. And even in my previous sessions, I had mentioned we are to start off any function, built-in function, or any calculation should be started with an equal to symbol. And VLOOKUP, as in vertical lookup, it's going to look for a value. Here the value is this employee ID. It's called a lookup value. The exact word is lookup value. It's going to look for the value in the leftmost column of a table array. and then it's going to return a value from the same row but from another column or from a column which we specify. Okay, let's get on to the exact one. You can see here there are 4 arguments. Let's see what are those arguments. I'll go to our function dialog box, function arguments dialog box. Now, what is it again? One more time, let me read the purpose. Looks for a value in the leftmost column of a table and then returns a value in the same row from a column you specify. By default, the table must be sorted in an ascending order. Now, what does this whole come up? Let me just write it and then explain you with this example only. So first, my lookup value over here is that EMP. Let me do one thing. Instead of just writing the EMP manually, let me go to the employee database. I'll just select that particular value. So I'm going to look for A9, or let's even do one more thing. Either you have it over here or I have even one more idea for you. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll just enter here EMP 1005. Okay, now that's going to be my lookup value. So VLOOKUP, my lookup value as you're seeing here, this EMP005, it's available in C5 of this sheet that we are currently here, function examples. I'm going to look for C5. Where am I going to look for it? I'll go to the exact location of the data, the tabular data that we have, and we are to look for the C5, the value available in cell C5 in the leftmost column of the table array. Now here, this is our array, a table array, and my lookup value should be available in the first column. That's why it says leftmost column, as in my employee ID should be the first column itself. Okay, so how am I going to mention the table array? It's by default, it's the location of the employee ID is the first column in the table array. But what is my table array? I'll just mention the exact rows, the location, which is from A5 to H4. And you can see what is even getting selected. So after we have mentioned the lookup value, where are we going to search for it, as in what is the table array? And by default, the lookup value is available as the first column. Now over here, after this, I have to fetch what? I have to fetch my salary. Salary is available in the 6th column. As an employee ID is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. That's my salary. So salary is in the 6th column. So, but then here, if you see my MVR, actually this 5th row is your employee 1005. So same row, but different column. So, but my column over here is obviously 6. And what is the 4th argument? 4th argument says range lookup. Now, it's the value that we are going to provide is a Boolean one. Either you give it as true or false, or your 1 and 0, 1 or 0. Now, what does mean? What do they mean? If I give false or 0, it means exact match. As in, if I'm looking for EMP 1005, I want EMP 1005 to be even available or even found. I want an exact match of this lookup value. And that's what is being indicated by the value false, or I mention 0 instead of false. Both are going to work the same. Now, instead of this, if I can forego, like if I'm not looking for an exact match, if I'm fine with a value which is lower than this or which is higher than this, especially not exact match, I want a approximate match. Not an exact, but an approximate match. In those cases, my range lookup value, I have to mention it as true, or I can mention it as 1. Both of them mean the same. So here we can say range lookup is a logical value to find the closest match in the first column, sorted in ascending order. It's true or omitted, and your true, as in if it's an optional argument, you may omit it. And if you're omitting, the default of the value is going to be true as an approximate match. But if you want to go for an exact match, you have to mention false, which is the case most of the time. So we'll mention here false. And if I just click on OK, I'll select OK, I've got 1 lakh, 1.1 lakh. So is that the value? Yes. We can try out one more. Say, let's say I've got 1015. So here, if I just change that 1005 to 1015, I get to see here the value. See, 11,100. So I have been successfully able to fetch the salary of the person with this ID. Okay, the 4 arguments. First is your lookup value. Then the most important for a VLOOKUP to work is that lookup value should be available in the leftmost column of the table array. And then the third argument is we are going to mention from which column we want the detail to be fetched corresponding to the lookup value. The detail will be available in the same row as my lookup value, but from a different column. And this column index number, the third argument, will accept numbers only, as in column numbers. And last argument is an optional. If you are going to omit it, it's going to assume it's that we are looking for an approximate match. But if we want an exact match to be found, we are going to mention false. Now, say for any reason, now, for example, let's just do a small change over here. If instead of this 10, okay, let me do one even more simplest one. All of them are sorted, fine. But then what's the last value that I can look over here? It's your 1050. Now, purposefully, I'll do one thing. I'll give a employee ID which is not there. 1051. Now it gives me NA. Now hash NA error in VLOOKUP is not found. The value is not found. And moreover, we are giving the range lookup as false. We want an exact match. My 1051 is not even there. It's not even part of it, right? But then I could really get the value. Like instead of, if I say without false, instead of false, if I go for my true, I won't get a hash NA. But what true will do over here is, although 1051 is not available, it will look up for the next, like as in previous value, next small item, or or let me say the previous item, which is lower than my, or which is smaller than my 1051. Available next is the previous small item which is available to 1051, and the one which is available here is 1050, and we got the salary as 66,900. So that's the difference between a false and a true. False means exact match. If I'm looking for ABC, I want ABC. As in, I'm looking for number 50 means I want 50 to be found. If it is not there, it will just return me a hash NA as in not found. That's one thing. But instead of, if I give my true, instead of false, if I mention it as true, even though if a number, if a lookup value is not available, just look for the previous value, like this the previous small item available on my lookup range. It is going to look up for it, and then whatever the return value that we have, like the column which we have mentioned, based on that, it's going to return me the salary for it. Now this is the salary for your 50, but then again saying true is only, we are supposed to use true only when we can, like we are fine with even if we don't find that exact match. But then exact match gives me the correct idea or understanding about which of the employees are actually missing. Because true means if it's not there, you just true means it's not there. As simple as that. Okay, but if you can forego with not having an exact match, if your requirement is not so much of a importance, you just need to show up the value alone and go for true, like as an approximate match. But with a false option, always we get a clear picture of which of the lookup values are actually available in the sheet and which are not available in the sheet. Okay, moving on. Let's get on to XLOOKUP. Okay, XLOOKUP is an upgrade of VLOOKUP, na? And then I'll come to your HLOOKUP. Now here it says find first name of your employee 1020. Now left lookup capability. I'll come to that. Now here for let's do a small tweaking of this data. I'll just do one thing is I'll just cut paste this first name to the left hand side of my employee ID. Second, I'll do one thing. Let's know then. Okay, I'll just do one small thing, which is, yeah. Okay, now purposefully only I have did this. Like I'm keeping my first name to the left hand side of my lookup value. Okay, if I'll just show the two comparison of this VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP, how it is going to work. Now let's say this 1020. 1020, the first name of the person is Karen, right? So let's just do one thing. I'll just change this to 1020. Okay, it's giving me the higher date. Okay, it has just changed because we have changed the location of that first name. So automatically the column index number, it has got adjusted. Never mind, but then I will now show you about the XLOOKUP equal to XLOOKUP. Now here it does work quite similar, like the purpose of using XLOOKUP is quite similar to my VLOOKUP, but it is an upgrade of VLOOKUP. And VLOOKUP, the major condition to be satisfied is that the lookup value should be available onto the left hand, as in the leftmost column of my table array. Here in XLOOKUP, that restriction is actually overcome. In a simple layman language, if I want to make you all understand, I'll just say that my VLOOKUP, the search direction is from left to right. I look for the lookup value. I just look up for the, or I search for that lookup value in the leftmost column of the array, as in first column, and then I move to the right to fetch the necessary value from the rest of the columns. But with an XLOOKUP, that as in the search direction is going to be left to right for my VLOOKUP. But XLOOKUP, that restriction is overcome. XLOOKUP can search both ways, either left, right, no restriction. Both ways it's going to search for me. So let me try the first name over here. Okay, but then there are a few more arguments that come into picture. Okay, what is that? First is lookup value. I'll go for the C5. What's my lookup array? Now, I need not mention an entire table array. I can just mention the array where my lookup value is available. Okay, see, searches a range or an array for a match and returns the corresponding item from a range or an array. And by default, an exact match is used. Okay, no worries. I'll go back to my data set. Where is my lookup value available? In the B column. B5 to B4. And what is it that I want to return? I want to return the first name. So first name column is nothing but A5 to A54. Okay, you have a small option over here which says if not found. If at all the lookup value is not found, what is to be displayed? I mean, it won't, I mean, I need not like, okay, this particular if not found is the best way to handle my NA errors, as in the not found errors. So if it is not found, I'll just say ID not found. And match mode. Now, match mode is how do you want to make it look like? Like you want to go in for an exact match, which is 0. You have 1 and -1. I'll come to each one of them. I'll show that. Let me come over here maybe. See, match mode over here, comma. Exact match, as I say, 0. The rest of the two is like 3 of them. If I want to for an exact match, or if I can adjust with a smaller item, next to smaller item, I'll go for -1. If I want like an exact match, or maybe the next larger item, I'll place the value, I'll put the value as 1. And what about 2? 2 is wildcard character match. If any, not an exact one, I want to just maybe mention the first few letters and go for a wildcard matching. You can use option 2. Okay. So of the 4, I'm going to go ahead with 0, which is exact match. And you have the last argument, which says my search type, basically search mode, which could be the like your search from first to last. I'm going to mention number 1. -1 is for last two first, that is a reverse order. And 2 is for binary search, sorted in that ascending order. My lookup value is going to be sorted in the ascending order. And we're going to go for a binary search. And -2, same binary, but the lookup value is sorted in the descending order. Okay, as of now, over here, I just want to search first to last. So I'm going to mention 1. And even if we don't mention the match mode or the last argument, which is your search mode, 0 and 1 are your default values. So if I mention OK, I'm going to get Karen. Now, same thing, if I use my VLOOKUP, I am going to get what? I'll just show you. My C5 employee, here employee, okay, here the table array, yeah, it's still your B5 to H54. Am I right? Let me just, yeah, B5 to H this. Okay. But it does search from left to right. My right over here is the 6th one, right? Okay, 6 means it comes off as higher date, right? Is the 6th column, it goes me for the higher date. I cannot go for something like -1 over here. It won't work. Okay, it won't work. So my VLOOKUP will just fail over there. My 6th column is now my hire date, not even salary. And what about my first name? First name is on to the left of my employee ID. It won't work at all. I cannot give something like -1 or maybe 0. I cannot put it over there like that. So my VLOOKUP won't work at all. Or if we just do one small thing, maybe just say, suppose this earlier, if I want this performance score, let's say this performance score is at the 7th, na? So if I will put it as 7, I'll get the performance score of this 1020 as 3 point. I'm getting that fine. But if at all I change the location of this performance score, that won't even work for us. Like I insert, I do a cut paste. Now let's see, it won't even work because there's no value at all. Okay, VLOOKUP, it will never work when I want to extract details or fetch details which are onto the left of our lookup value. But that issue is actually, or that restriction is overcome by this XLOOKUP, because here the main thing is we are not mentioning the table array. We just mention the array or the range where my lookup value is available, and we mention the range where the return value is even available. So in that way, it doesn't even look out for whether it's on the left or right. and it will fetch from both directions. That's the best part about it. And we don't even need to mention which column number and so on. The column number is does kind of like it just says I if the column number should be available in the exact sixth position from my lookup value. That is also overcome. Okay, so definitely my X lookup is an upgrade. And not only that, as I told, if it's not found, say my 5 1. Now here, if 1 second. 5 1, and let's say it's going to be 6 instead of 7. Let me keep the column number as 6, and let me go for my false as an exact match. Okay, here it's going to give me hen NA as in not found. But the same thing over here, I am trying to find out for my C5. C5 is a value which is not found. Even though it's not found, it doesn't display the hash NA because it has got an argument which handles that, which just says what should be done if not found. So just you have mentioned over there ID not found, just does that. But if I have to do the same kind of handling with a VLOOKUP, I have to use a function called if NA, which is specifically for handling NA errors. So there are only two arguments. First is the value. Either you could put any of the expression which is going to result in an NA. And if it results, or if this VLOOKUP goes all fine, means the second argument won't even be looked over. But if the VLOOKUP over here, the expression or the value, if it results in NA, what should be done? I can just say ID not found. That's it. So with VLOOKUP, if I want to handle NA errors, rather than just displaying the error code, I can handle it in a better way if I use my if NA in combination with VLOOKUP. But XLOOKUP, there is a provision for it within the argument itself. As in within the function arguments, we have got one such arrangement, as in one such argument, which handles the NA errors. Okay. So that's the upgrade of my VLOOKUP, which could be overcome with the XLOOKUP. But yes, XLOOKUP works from 2021 version of Excel only, not before that. Okay, now let's see one more thing over here. What about our index match? Now, if at all you're working with a version which is lower to 2021, if I am thinking of an alternative for VLOOKUP, like which would work both ways, my left and right, both search directions, I will definitely go for index and match. Okay, so let me just see what is the question over here. It says find department for 1015. Okay, I'll do one thing. Let me switch these back to their positions. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Now over here, if you see, I told index match, right? So that too, what was the lookup value? It's your 1015. Let me change this to 1015. Okay. Now let's see what's the department for 1015. Okay. 1015. Department is HR. Okay, I need to get that. Let me try it out. Index. With index, actually, the basic purpose of using an index is I mention an array, a table array, and in that table array, I mention a row number and a column number. Index is just going to return me the value available at the intersection of your row and column. And while mentioning the array, there are two formats. As you can see here, one says as format, another is your, one says as array, another is your reference. Now, array format is majorly used only for some differently arranged data you are going to be using your reference. Other than that, we are generally going to be using array only. So I'll choose the array. Now over here, where is the employees even available? Obviously, my employee data set. So A5 to H54, that's my array. Over here, I am going to mention row number and column number. Okay, row number of employee 1015 and the column number for the department. That's how it's going to match off. Okay, now here I could directly put few things, like I could just manually enter my 1020. It's available in the, that's your 5, right? That's 1. Wait. Basically, onto the 20th row, it's really available, right? I can say that now. So either I mention it like that, my 20, row number 20, and column number, department is the 4th column. So if I say mention 4, it says as IT. Is it right? Let me just have a small look. It says IT 1050. Am I right? Or 1020. What was the one? Or did I miss out something? It's 1015. I'm so sorry. 1015 is 15. 15 and 4. I actually get the HR. So I told you it's the 15th row where my employee EMP 1015 is available. And 4th column is nothing but HR. Yeah, that's the 15th row. And my HR, it's in the 4th column. So the intersection is nothing but HR from this table array. Now, in real time, I won't be playing with toy data sets. Definitely, I'm going to be dealing with million rows. In those cases, instead of just going for a manual entry, I would go for functions, like substitute functions in place of this row number and column number. Those functions are going to calculate the row number and column number. How to do that? Okay, first one, 15. I'll substitute a match function. Now, match function is very much similar to VLOOKUP. Quite similar, the concept wise. So I'm going to look up for a value. Here is my employee ID. I'm going to look up for the employee ID in the array, and I'll go for an exact match. So my lookup value is this. Where am I going to look for it? In the employee ID column. And I want to go in for an exact match. See here, 0 is exact match. 1 is I'm looking for a value which is less than that lookup value. And -1 is when I mention -1 when I'm looking for a value which is greater than the lookup value. Here I'm looking for my exact. Well, close. Yeah. My answer will be still valid. It's your HR only. Only that instead of that 15, I have substituted my match function. I can look up for it. See, returns the relative position of an item in an array that matches or a specified value in a specified order. Now, when I'm saying match, okay, what is it actually returning me? Now, I'm looking for this EMP 1015, where in the lookup array, which is this A5 to A54. And we are saying we want an exact match. It is going to return me 15. 15 is the relative position of that employee ID as in the lookup value in that lookup array. It's the 15th item. It's the 15th item in that array. That's the row number. So with match function, I can substitute instead of that manual entry, that 15, instead of that manual number entry, I can substitute it with match function, which will calculate the row number 15, which is nothing but the relative position of my lookup value in the lookup array. That's the first one. That's when I'm looking for my, basically I want to return the row number. Okay, same way I can, instead of that 4 is my column number, the department, right? So I can substitute one more match function. How? Let's see. We're going to use our match function again. My lookup value is not going to be this employee ID, but it's going to be, I'll go here, I'll look up for the headers, especially when you want the match function to return the column number. I have to look my lookup value and lookup array are all headers. Okay, here my lookup value is going to be department, where I'm going to look for department in the header array, and I want an exact match. So my department in this header array, it's appearing at the 4th position. One more time. If I go to fx, my function argument, see department in the header array, employee ID, that whole of my header array, it's appearing at the 4th position, which is nothing but 4th column. So just see, instead of manual entries like my 15 or 4, I could just substitute my match functions, which will return me the row number or the column number. Just one thing to be remembered, while using using the match function to return the row number, my lookup value is going to be the employee ID, as in over here, or any other lookup value you might be searching for. That's one thing. But when I am looking, or when I'm substituting my match to return my column number, my lookup value is actually going to be the header, the column header to be found or to be searched in the header array. And the position of the column header in the header array is nothing but your column number. Just similar way, for your row, your lookup value as in the employee ID here was appearing at the 15th position, as in the relative position is 15, as in the 15th item in the lookup array, which is nothing but my entire employee ID. Okay, here also this index match need not that you have to be working with 2021 version of Excel. Even with lower versions also, definitely it's going to work, and you don't have to be bothered about where is your lookup value. Is it onto the first of the table array, as in the first column, or is it onto any of the other columns? Even if I just say, for example, if I now come here, I introduce a column over here. I bring the department, or maybe as of now, just as of now, I've introduced one. It will still work, no change. But here it just says B5 to I. You can see the small change has happened. Okay, my table array is changed. Even all of this, they are still the same. That's not changed. Okay, what about if I bring my department from here? If I bring it over here, no issues. It will still work. Maybe one small thing was there, it has just got broken. I will just, if we remove that. Okay, but then let's just see what it has really given me. B5 to H54. Okay, B5 to H54, that's my slight change, maybe not much. Okay, B5 this, my C5 is this. It's going to be searched in B5 to B54. Yeah, that's true. Okay, but I guess the header array is now a bit different. A4, okay. See, A4 is being searched from B4 to H4. That's the only thing. I have to just do one thing. Simplest thing is just change this B to A. It'll start working. I'll get the answer. Okay, let me just cross check whatever I have given is right or wrong. So in that array, my 15th row and first column. I guess this also I should change because that array is also, when the moment I change the array, things are all good. Those subtle changes, but the just the position has got changed. So I can still make some changes or adjustments to my index match arguments. It will still work. But VLOOKUP, there is no option for me to give in the place of my column number if the lookup value is onto the right of my fetching value. Like whatever I want to return, like I want to search in the reverse way from your left, from your right to left. If I want to do that, it's not going to work. But here in the index match, that is not an issue. It will work both ways. And best part is it also works before 2021 also. You need not have a 2021 version of Excel to be working with. Yeah, so I can use my index match very well. It's still hold good. Only that my you just saw one small different changes that I could do was my header array or the table array. It's the same array, but then it just got rearranged. So I had to just make those subtle changes and things, everything is working fine. No issues at all. Okay, that was your index and match. Okay, moving on, three more to go, three not four, because I've got my HLOOKUP. I have got, let me go through and I'll come to the HLOOKUP maybe in the end. Okay, what about the offset over here? Now to offset, I want to, what is it that I want to find out? Okay, get salary of the 10th row, which is employee 1010, using starting point as A4. Okay. Now, what is this offset going to do? What's the purpose of using it? Returns a reference to a range that is the given number of rows and columns from a given reference. Now, there is something that you looked on to worry. If you see the question, it says using starting point as A4. Let me go to the exact database. Okay, my A4 is the starting. Okay, but here I have to change because my department is now onto the first. I'm not going for department. We are trying to find out our salary. So I'll just make small arrangements. My starting point is now department. It's just going to be employee ID, which is B4 now. Okay, instead of A4, we're just going for B4 now. That's my starting point. And from that starting point, I'm going to traverse certain number of rows and columns until the salary. Okay, so how to go for it? Okay, salary 1010. Okay, 1010 is the 10th row. So here in the rows, I have to mention number of rows that I want to traverse from B4 is 10. Okay, so we'll reach here. This is your from here 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that, I'll come till 10. But then I want salary. So for salary, I have to traverse 4 columns. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll mention this as 4. I get the answer. I need not even mention the height and width. Those two are optional arguments, but what are they? My height is the height as in the number of rows that I want the result to be. The same height as reference if omitted. Now I want the salary only over here, right? I'm not looking for anything else. But say if I wanted both my salary and hire date, what am I to do? Now, I am actually going to return two values, right? But then it's like number of rows, both of them are onto the same row. Single row, height is that, number of rows of the output. But then there are single row, but two columns. This is one column, this is second column. So my width is nothing but number of columns that I want my output to be. If I put this as 2 and hit enter, you will see both my salary and my hire date coming up. Okay. My whatever is going to be my output, whatever is going to be as per the requirement, whatever I want the output to be, if it is a single value that you are actually returning, you may just omit this height and width. Height is number of rows and width is number of columns of the output. Okay. Now, if at all both of them are optional, you can see they are enclosed within square brackets. Now, if at all you are omitting them, Excel is going to consider the height and width of my starting cell reference. It's a single cell reference. So height is 1, width is 1, row is 1, column is 1. Just single value, single cell only. So it will assume that way. So if at all I don't mention this 1 and 2, it'll just return me salary. But I wanted both salary and hire date. So that was the reason I specifically, okay, my height is 1, I understand, but width is 2. So it could return me 2 values across a row. Okay. And offset, you could go in for a, like a, it's a, you can see here, it's a dynamic one. Okay. It says like a volatile. Now, even for examples like finding out moving average, okay, if we have uh, say a particular stock value for across maybe an entire year, we are being given us maybe some 5 years, and if we are looking out for something like a moving average, 50-day moving average is the basic average function that we all know. It's more of a static one, wherein the range is just exact number of items, for the items for which I want the average. The list, the number of items in that range is actually fixed. It's static, it's not going to change. But then even the range is also fixed. But in my moving average, I happen to keep on changing the array or the range of items for which the average is to be found. And if I have to keep on changing, as in if I have to, that range is going to be dynamic. Say, let's say on the simplest one, I have that 1 year stock values for your closing prices or your opening prices for your one of your stocks, maybe stock A. I want a 7-day moving average. So the first 7 items is going to be I'm going to pick up those 7 items for the moving average, first moving average. For the second moving average, the range is now going to be from second item to your 8th item. That's your second moving, that's the range for your second moving average. When I have to alter it to maybe some third to your 10th item or third to your 9th item, again 7 items. So the number of items that are going to be included in the range is going to be constant, but the range itself is going to be dynamic. That's what is the concept of a moving average. You all can just Google, we are all experts. We can go to Google, we can go to Chat GPT and all to find out what's this moving average. So for those cases, when I have that range is keeping on going to be dynamic, my offset really is going to be helping me in a good lot of ways, because that's the main, because you can see here volatile. I can keep on changing the ranges to make that work. Okay, offset is for that purpose only. Okay, so moving on, indirect. Indirect is just to dynamically reference the cell F5 from the sheet name in text. Okay, what does that mean? I'll use my indirect. See here, returns the reference specified by a text string. Now here I want to refer to that F5. Okay, I'll go here. I'll click on F5. I guess F5 earlier was this. F5, yes, it was this. My A was actually D at that time, E and F. Okay, maybe let's say any of the F5 or maybe I could go for F5 also, which is this F5 or F9 over here, or maybe exactly F5. That's my value, or maybe let's say financial analyst is what I want to return. But indirect allows us to, like, if I want to separate any other different sheet, I want to refer to this particular selected cell value. How am I supposed to do? Okay, I'll close this, but then I'm supposed to enclose this reference in a text format, as in I am to enclose it within square quotations. And let's just see. Yeah, I'm going to get the answer. But then there is of course, I get it as volatile. I'll just show you. Why? Because I can keep on changing this. If I drag it, they say if I copy the reference text over here to any other, or I just copy it, like keep on copying it, it's just going to keep on changing. My indirect also keep on changing. That's what is the meaning. Okay, what is it here? A1 is a logical value that specifies the type of reference in text. This type of reference, is it a R1C1 style or a A1 style? Now, is it a A1? Now here, this VLOOKUP, the content that you can see here, VLOOKUP, it's in the A5 cell. As in the reference, cell reference is in the column alphabet followed by row number, that style. If if that's the style, we could just omit it. Okay, we can either say true or we can just omit it. But if my cell reference is not in this A1 style, like my column alphabet and followed by row number, which if it's not in that style, I have to go in for my R1C1. There's one more alternative. That setting you can change to that option you can pick up when you go to your Excel settings. But that is like, it won't be in this column alphabet and row number. Now it will be like row 1, column 1, row 2, column 2. So if it's the cell references are in that format or that style, I could choose the option false. Now here we are omitting, which indirectly passes on the information to Excel that the cell reference is of A1 style, column alphabet followed by row number. And yes, I got that. If I change this to maybe E6, see, automatically the reference is keeping on changing. That's what is even happening. Yeah. So dynamically reference a cell F5 from a sheet name in text. So we have to remember that this reference that we are mentioning, it should be enclosed in double quotes, as in it should be the argument should be provided as a text. Only then indirect is going to work for us. Okay. What about the next one over here as choose? Now choose is specifically say I have a list of values. Okay, and from that value, I want to pick up a certain item based on the index of that item. That's how choose works. So return chooses a value or action to perform from a list of values based on an index number. So, okay, first is the index number, then I can say maybe I want to go in for 3. Third is my index number. I'm going to mention, say, suppose low, high, I've got my medium, and maybe exceptional. These are 4 elements or 4 items. Okay, from here, I want to return the third one, which is nothing but my medium. So of this list, from this list of values, I am picking the third item. So that's been mentioned by that index number. Instead of 3, if it is 2, I'm going to return high. So choosing an item from a list of values based on the position of that item. When I say position, nothing but index number. And first item is number 1, number 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Let's see the last one over here, which is HLOOKUP. Now VLOOKUP, we have seen it's your vertical lookup. What about HLOOKUP? HLOOKUP is horizontal lookup, which works only on horizontal ranges. Okay, it doesn't work on, when I say horizontal ranges, we mean row headers. Vertical ranges means column headers, and horizontal range means my row headers. So what is it that I'm trying to find here is find the Q3 sales for region 05. So my region 05, I want the Q3 sales. Okay, how to do? Let me write it over here itself, my lookup value, as in my H lookup. Now, the concept wise, my VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP is quite the same, but the way it does search is now a bit different. VLOOKUP, everything is being searched column wise. Okay, you will see column index number, like I look up for a value in the first column and then return a value from another column. But here in case of horizontal lookup, I'm going to look up for a value in the topmost row of a table array and then return a value from another row, but same column. So let's just see that our lookup value is this, and my table array is actually this. Yeah. Okay. And I want to return my third row, right? Okay, I guess one small thing I need to do, instead of B5, it should be B4. Yeah. So B4 to A9, AY9, I'm looking for F4, which is my region 05. Okay. And from that, okay, I want to return where? Okay, it's my Q3 is actually in the fourth row. This is the first row, second row, third row, and the fourth row. So I want to return it from the fourth row. And again, it's going to be false as an exact match. Yeah, that's my value. Q3 for your region 05. See, looks for a value in the top row of a table array. Our region 05 was header row. I do understand here. Okay, it's the heading over here, the region names. Okay, that I'm going to look for this whole table array, which is even including my that region names. Okay, so B4 to AY9. My region names are the first row. I want to return the value from the fourth row because that's only for my Q3 sales. And we are going to for a false, which is exact match. Now, just like my VLOOKUP, I even have a true option over here. If say, for example, I go in for an option, say I go for a lookup value is actually not available. We have got till 50, right? Now say suppose I go for a value which is region underscore 51. But still it returns me an answer. How? See, the one which is available, like 51 was not available, but it is looking for the next smaller item, which is 50. And it got me the Q3 sales, right? Instead of true, if it had been false, it will just return me hash NA, as in value not found. As simple as that, because it's an exact match. If I'm looking for 50, I should find 50. If it's not there, I'll throw an error saying not found. Here also I can handle it using if NA, and I want to just say region not found. Rather than just displaying a hash NA, Excel users do understand the meaning of hash NA with a VLOOKUP or a HLOOKUP. I cannot expect the others to have an understanding of that. So instead of just displaying the error code, Excel error code, if we can display a small text over there, which is indicative of what is that error. Yeah. So that's going to be much better handling of my NA errors in a nicer way to for people to understand. Okay, so that completes all of our lookup functions, lookup and reference functions. We have seen almost 7 of them. 7, or let me say 8, because index and match 2 functions. So 8 lookup and reference functions. So that's all for the module 5. I'll see you in the next module. Thank you. Till then, keep learning and keep practicing.